Get ready, because we're talking wedding style, and this is the ultimate countdown. It's the biggest day of a girl's life.
Oh my God, wedding day style is everything a woman lives for.
It takes big, bold decisions.
I've had a bride say to me, make sure her bridesmaids don't look as good as she does.
Do the right thing, and it's a dream come true. But make one bad move,
That could be disastrous.
and it can go horribly wrong.
There she is at the bar, screaming at the barman, pour me a drink! This is my wedding!
There are clearly some big do's and don'ts.
From small-town brides and grooms
They were horrifying.
to Hollywood's biggest stars, everyone makes wedding mistakes. Even the guests have a lot to consider.
Don't do something like that unless you're single and you want to meet men.
It's not wild on weddings.
I'm Layla Ali, and this is Glamour's 20 Wedding Do's and Don'ts.
Walk me down the aisle. What's with that thing? I found a love so true. We're gonna be forever. Look at that dress. Ooh, baby, I do.
A wedding day can be a dream come true or a nightmare. We've all seen those tragic fashion and beauty mistakes, and chances are we've made a few of them ourselves. I'm talking about the bad hair, the bad veils, and the god-awful dresses. I'm Layla Ali, and we're gonna show you all of it. But we've also got some good advice, because no matter who you are, bride, groom, even the guests, you have a lot to worry about when it comes to wedding day style. And we're gonna start off with something that makes all girls cringe. Yep, the bridesmaid's dress. Brides, don't make your friends spend a lot of money on a dress they hate. There's nothing worse than having to shell out a bunch of cash for something you will only wear once. Yes, it's your big day, but this could be a bridesmaid's 4th wedding this month.
It's really important to consider your bridesmaid's budget when you decide what they're wearing. It's not fair to say, I want you to wear a Chanel dress to my wedding as a bridesmaid.
If you've got one girl that can afford anything and another that can't, make it happy for everybody.
The entire process costs so much money and takes up so much time that bridesmaids are often resentful. They actually should diagnose an illness about it, like bridesmaid hatred disease.
For decades, without a doubt, being a bridesmaid meant wearing a dreadful dress.
Back in the day, when I had to be a bridesmaid, I mean, you could cringe. You gotta be a bridesmaid? Oh, God, and I've gotta pay for that ugly gown, too?
Bridesmaids' dresses are notorious for having lousy quality and a little bit strange fit. They've had a really bad rap over the years.
The worst dresses you could imagine have been worn by bridesmaids at weddings. I have no idea who started that terrible tradition.
I think what happens with bridesmaids' dresses, oftentimes looking like big don'ts, is the fact that the bride is really focused on herself. It's kind of an afterthought.
I had been a bridesmaid and actually wore a Peter Pan collar over the shoulder with a scalloped edge and lace in teal. Horrible.
The worst thing about the 80s bridesmaid gowns were the shoulder pads. They'd show through the lace. That was the worst thing.
I myself was a bridesmaid about 10 times, so I have a closet full of aqua and fuchsia dresses that were, sort of somewhere between Cinderella and, a bad ball gown.
I had to be in my cousin's wedding, and those dresses were so hilarious. Bright pink, big ruffles on the shoulders, and then like a Snow White kind of skirt. Went back to the hotel room, took it off, rolled it up in a ball, put it in the garbage can, and checked out the next day.
Thankfully today, bridesmaids fashion has come a long way.
You have liberty to be creative today and wear great clothes, where before you were wearing tragic dresses.
Listen, it's a 4-hour party. That's it. Why make everybody miserable for 4 hours?
You can find great bridesmaids looks at a range of price points, but ultimately, if the bride wants nothing but the best, then she should consider picking up the tab.
A lot of your friends don't have the same budget you do, so if you want them all wearing a gorgeous Vera Wang bridesmaid dress, you should pay for it.
Number 19 is a beauty don't. If you're the bride, don't go crazy on over-the-top hair and makeup. A wedding is meant to be a once-in-a-lifetime event, not a science experiment.
This is the picture that is going to live with you for the rest of your life. And you don't want to keep on looking at that bad hair and makeup moment.
Who wants to be looking funny in a wedding photograph?
You don't want your groom to be the one that puts up his hand and says,
I liked her better when I met her. I liked her better yesterday. She's got far too much makeup on. She looks like a drag queen.
My suggestion for brides especially is to keep it in a neutral palette or a blush pink palette, regardless of your skin tone. If you keep the skin looking radiant and soft, you will look gorgeous in the photos.
And there will be hundreds of those pictures, from morning till night, from the limo to the toast. The bride is a star, so her makeup better make it till the end.
Red lipstick is a gorgeous thing, but after a few mouths of wedding cake, that red lipstick's not gonna be on your mouth anymore. You're gonna look like Bozo the Clown, because it's just gonna be a big rim around the edge of your lips.
When it comes to hair and makeup, the key word is timeless, not trendy, because nothing is worse than a dated wedding photo.
The only person who really likes it is the photographer, because he's gonna get some crazy old shots.
A good idea is to look to the red carpet for inspiration. Pull out all the hairstyles and makeup you like and bring that to the salon with you.
Go to a lot of these magazines, pick a hairdo that looks great, and go into your hairdresser and say, how can I get this look? And don't be afraid of adding a few extensions or pieces so that you get the right volume in that updo.
And by the way, whoever said the bride has to wear an updo? Chances are the groom wants to see your hair in a more natural look.
If you normally wear your hair in a curly style, you don't need to change it for your wedding day thinking that it's somehow going to be better.
I see so many photographs of people where their hair is like, it's huge. And then when you see them in regular life, their hair's very like soft, sleek. So why didn't you do that?
I don't feel like you have to wear your hair up, especially if you don't wear your hair up all the time. It's not the time for you to like transform yourself. Be true to your personal sense of style.
Once you've decided on your hairstyle, do be sure to schedule a trial run on the big day. Number 18 is a do.
Test it out first and have your best friend give you her honest opinion.
Don't set yourself up to hate your hair by not test driving that hairstyle.
Figure out what you're doing way ahead of time, take a picture, look at it, sleep on it.
I always advise just to take some photographs because, you know, if you have your hair trial a month before the wedding, maybe the hairdresser doesn't remember exactly what they did.
If you can, it's a good idea to try out your whole ensemble at once.
I think it's really important to put time and trial runs into your makeup and your hair with your gown on. I mean, it's so funny. Sometimes you think, oh yeah, my hair and makeup look great. And then that day you put your gown on and you go, ah!
Next on the list is a don't. Don't make the mistake of getting caught up in a big, messy veil that looks like a mosquito net. Consider your dress before choosing your headpiece.
If you've got a big traditional gown, you don't need all that veil to top it off. You kind of get lost in the fabric somewhere.
Those really beautiful, big, full veils do look better over a slimmer, trimmer dress. It allows that moment to be sort of more romantic and sweet and not one where people are like, what the hell is she? What's that? She looks like she's out of Africa. You don't want her to get bitten by any of these rare bugs that we might find here at the country club.
I think it's very tacky when a bride has overdone hair, the over-the-top gown, the overdone veil.
Worn the right way, a veil can be the perfect touch to make you look and feel like a bride.
I love a veil because no matter how untraditional a dress can be, a veil always lends not only an air of protocol, but an air of mystery and seduction.
But your veil should complement the gown, not overshadow it.
It should always be very soft and it should disappear, really.
They have ones actually that are really long for when you walk down the aisle, and then you can literally rip them in half and then party all night long in them.
Number 16 on the list brings us back to bridesmaids, and it's a fashion don't. Don't make the aisle look like a parade of lookalikes.
Long gone are the days of matchy-matchy bridesmaids dresses. Nobody likes those anymore. We've progressed past them.
This is not about walk of the clones. Let your bridesmaids bring their own individuality to their gowns. If you're picking a cream or a nice blush pink.
Maybe choose a fabric or a color that you like. Choose different style options that look good on different bodies so that everybody feels good and looks good. There's a lot that you can do with just sort of mixing up the options.
Usually you find unity somewhere. It's either in a color or it's delineating the bridesmaids from the maid of honor.
What I did for my wedding is I said, buy the sexiest black dress you could ever imagine, and everyone felt great.
If you have your heart set on matching dresses, at least let the bridesmaids pick their own accessories. But please, identical shoes need not apply. Ultimately, when you're choosing your bridesmaid's look, just remember, this is not the time for a fashion risk.
You can't make a mistake if you just put your bridesmaids in something classic, elegant, and simple, and with nice colors.
You want to think of your wedding walk kind of as your wedding runway, if you will. Think about everybody that comes down that aisle like a chic fashion show. And you know, fashion shows are elegant, slightly theatrical, but everybody looks gorgeous and comfortable. That's how the people in your party should look.
Being a bridesmaid is tough. We've all been there and we've all worn some not so cute ensembles. But there's good news. These days, the options are getting better. So we sent Glamour's Susie Yalof-Schwartz out to meet with two of the hottest designers in bridesmaid fashion to find out how to do it right.
Right now, it's much more about wearing the same color palette and different styles of dresses, or even mixing it up.
Beth Blake and Melissa Akey designed a line called Thread, a hip modern collection of mix and match bridesmaid gowns.
When they're coming to Thread, they're wanting informality and they're wanting variety and they're not wanting, you know, the cookie cutter, everyone looks exactly the same.
Our favorite thing is to dress a size 26 girl and she walks out of this place like excited and happy and like with tears practically because she feels so excited to wear this dress. It fits her so well and she feels good in.
Maybe one girl wants to show off her shoulders, another doesn't. But if everyone's a little different, that's no problem.
Choose a fabric and a color and let the girls all choose their own dresses. They can wear long, they can wear short, they can wear strapless, they can wear sweetheart neckline.
You can also play with different colors, even coordinate them with your flowers.
You can totally mix it up by changing the color palette. So maybe they can wear different shades of pastel, or changing the print, or changing the length.
Maybe one girl's in a long fuchsia dress, another girl's in a short baby pink dress. Add in some prints or some texture in a peony color or a begonia.
Bridesmaids love options, but don't forget who's the boss.
We tell the brides, you have to make the calls. You can't let your bridesmaids run the show here because you'll be here for years before you're getting any decisions made.
And black is a great way to please everyone.
It's flattering, it's dressy, it's stylish, it looks great in pictures. I see it mostly for kind of fall and winter weddings, more urban, when you're kind of up against maybe some kind of more elaborate background and you need your girls to just look really chic and elegant.
The most important thing to remember, let everyone be themselves.
Once you start with that notion, the whole world opens up because you can have so much fun with it and really think about, you know, making your bridesmaids excited and happy. It's really about individuals and your friends and the whole kind of spirit of who you are and who your friends and your family are.
And as an added bonus, these dresses will definitely get worn again.
Okay, this is a bridesmaid's dress, but I want this as my own dress. Beautiful.
Don't go away, there's plenty more to come. Coming up, it's a big wedding don't.
That is a no. Don't do it.
And you won't believe which Hollywood fashion icon did it.
She told us at Glamour that she regrets it.
And later, even the wedding guests need to worry about what they wear.
It's not wild on weddings.
Welcome back to Glamour's 20 Wedding Do's and Don'ts. I'm Layla Ali. Now, if you think the bridesmaids have it hard, you're right, they do. But what about the bride? She's under a lot of pressure to look great. Believe me, I know. And then there's the big question, how much for that dress? Number 15 is a big don't, and many brides make this mistake. There is no need to go broke on your wedding gown. It's a dress, not a down payment on a house. So why spend a small fortune?
That blushing bride is going to get caught up in the magic of this big day and maybe spend the cost of a down payment on a dress.
Some girls grow up, if they don't have a $20,000 wedding gown, you know, they're not going to look any good.
You don't have to do that today.
If you're a bride and you can't afford to spend a lot of money on your wedding dress, this is the best possible time for you. eBay, you can buy all the designer dresses at a fraction of the price.
There are designers out there that their specialty is knocking off the haute couture designs that are walking the runways in Milan and Paris. And in a photo, you know, a really, really, really expensive satin and a cheap satin looks the same.
You can go to like a designer that you love, like a Vera Wang, go to her website and put in an inquiry and say, do you ever have sample sales? You know, do it with the designers you love, and maybe one of them will be having a sample sale.
And if you don't blow your budget on your dress, you can focus on the rest of your look.
Why not put some of that time or money into hiring a personal trainer? You know, get that body together. You know how it goes. When your body's amazing, you can wear anything.
The golden rule, buy the best dress you can afford. If you have the money, go ahead and spend it. In general, your gown should not exceed 10% of your wedding budget.
I always say that it comes down to heartstrings versus purse strings. You don't wear this dress once. You wear it for as long as those photographs survive.
But if the dress you want eats up too much of your budget, think about what's really important. If you splurge, you may have to skimp on another part of your wedding.
A $15,000 dress and a cash bar is a big no-no. That is a no. Don't do it.
Number 14 is for the fashion-forward bride, and this one is a do. Whether you get your wedding gown online or from Vera Wang, it's okay to take risks. If you're the type of girl who dares to defy tradition, it's your day, so wear something short, not white, whatever suits you.
Gwen Stefani, I love her because she's so her. And she wore this gorgeous gown that was just dipped in a little bit of pink dye. And it really suited her style.
I would be married like Pamela Anderson in a bikini on the beach. Whatever you want to make that day about, you're totally free.
For her own wedding dress, designer Cynthia Rowley did her own thing.
I made a dress really fast after the show. It was a little short dress, white, re-embroidered lace, and much more my personality.
If you decide to do something drastically different, you'll have to live with your choice forever.
Sarah Jessica Parker, who's a complete fashionista, wore black on her wedding day, and she told us at Glamour that she regrets it.
One person who you might expect to take a risk with her wedding day style is Lulu Johnson, daughter of outrageous fashion designer Betsy Johnson. Instead, Lulu took a rather traditional approach and called on Vera Wang to create her dress.
I was surprised. I was really honored, even more than surprised, because Betsy is so expressive and distinctive as a designer. And I could have easily seen Lulu going down the aisle in a Betsy Johnson special couture creation.
More surprising was Betsy's very tame choice for the wedding.
She wanted something that was, you know, had a certain classicism and elegance and taste level.
I found the perfect gown right away. It was in white, so she made mine in black. I felt like a mother of the bride, that Vera Wang with all the boning, and I felt, oh, this feels like a special occasion now.
As a bride, whether you take a risk or play it safe, be true to yourself.
I think for your wedding day, you should be able to do whatever you want.
If other people are happy with your decisions, great, that's icing on the cake. But this is your day. These are your decisions. You're the one who lives with this for the rest of your life.
Number 13 is all about the groom. Guys, don't spend the most important day of your life in someone else's pants. It's clothing, not a car, so buy it, don't rent it.
That's not the way I want to be in anybody's pants. I don't want to rent them. I think that it's just creepy and it's not necessary.
Why would you want to wear something that 100 other men have worn for the biggest day of your life?
A tux may seem like the only choice, but these days, there's a more modern alternative.
A wonderful option is to simply buy a great suit, which will be a fraction of the cost of a formal tuxedo, have it fit to your body, get a great white shirt and a beautiful bow tie or straight tie, and it will really have the same feeling.
So I think a groom can go out and just buy a beautiful tailored black suit that's very formal and very chiseled and great looking, and he can wear it again and again and again.
It's an investment. You're gonna have this for the rest of your life.
But if black tie is a must, you should still consider buying. Formal can be affordable.
You can go to the Men's Warehouse. You can go to department stores and get their private label tuxedos. You can find a tuxedo, and you should have a tuxedo. You're a grown man now. If you're old enough to get married, you're old enough to have a tuxedo.
Whatever you do, don't spend more than you can afford.
That was the joke when my husband bought the Prada tuxedo. He was like, well, I don't want to look like a cater waiter. And I was like, well, you're going to have to start catering to pay for this.
Number 12 is for the groomsmen. This one is a do. Do let the boys add a touch of their own style to their ensembles. You don't want them to look like March of the Penguins, or even worse.
I think they can do without the colored vests inside. That seems very 90s to me.
I would never go like the top hat, white silk scarf route. You'll probably think it looks crazy later.
I did a wedding just recently where all the groomsmen wore seersucker suits and Adidas tennis shoes. It was tasteful and adorable. You can do khaki suits for an outdoor wedding.
One of the best things for the groomsmen is to say, okay, everybody go out and buy a navy suit if it's gonna be a suit wedding. That always looks chic.
For groomsmen, the biggest style tip is to really key into their own personality and their own style if they have it. It could be just a little nuance, like a pocket square or a great pair of cufflinks. That's what makes it a unique look.
Number 11 is a do, and this one's for the guests. If you're headed to a wedding, do give some thought to your outfit. You want to look good, but you don't want to steal the spotlight.
A wedding is not the venue for someone else to be the center of attention. I would say try to be a little bit conservative. Don't look like if you were on your first date with a hot guy or something.
This is about letting the attention be on the couple. And you want to make sure that you are a very beautiful part of their background.
Don't dress too sexy. It's not a nightclub. You're not there to party. Woo! It's not wild on weddings.
The place and time can help you decide what to wear or not to wear.
Is it going to be at a Las Vegas club? Or is it going to be in a church with a reception on the lawn? Keep that in mind when you're choosing your backless mini dress slid up to the waist, if that's what you planned on wearing.
If it says black tie, don't wear a mini skirt outfit. And if it says dress casually, don't wear something that has glitter on it.
Don't be scared to call the bride and just say, I was thinking about wearing this, is that appropriate?
If you want to wear something really sexy and you're going to Pamela Anderson's wedding, that will be totally smiled upon. However, if you're going to a more conservative wedding, definitely don't do something like that unless you call the bride first and you're single and you want to meet men.
It's always that one crazy friend who doesn't know that sequins aren't for daytime. And so she shows up wearing her red slinky sequin spaghetti strap dress.
I love to see, you know, the good, the bad, and the ugly at a big special occasion because you get everybody's take on it.
Stay with us. You won't believe what's coming up. The pressure to look perfect can make the nicest bride a little evil.
I've had a bride say to me, she wants to make sure her bridesmaids don't look as good as she does.
And brides who made drastic wedding day decisions.
They look like the brides of Frankenstein. They were horrifying.
We're back and counting down the top 20 wedding do's and don'ts. And trust me, there are lots of don'ts, like our next piece of advice. Hey ladies, what's up with the tiara? Number 10 is for the bride. Don't feel like you need to wear a tiara just because it's your wedding day.
It's born in us, I think, that the little tiara means we are the special one at the party. This is our crown.
There's rarely been a tiara I've ever liked. If you are Princess Grace or a celebrity who's really young and really cute and can get away with it, yes, it works. But sometimes it just kind of looks trashy.
I think there's other days that it's okay to wear a tiara, like Wednesdays and Fridays.
I think it looks forced. Now, unless you're Princess Di and it's all real diamonds, hey girl, go ahead and wear it.
Tuesdays and Thursdays maybe, that's tiara day.
Who wears a tiara? I bashed Paula Abdul, bless her heart. She's so sweet, but no, you do not wear a tiara. It's reserved for somebody who's won a pageant.
Definitely not Tuesdays and Fridays. Saturdays, though, are good for tiaras. Saturdays are really good.
Once upon a time, the tiara signified hope, magic, glamour, and wealth. That was then, this is now, because what works for real royalty may not work for you. But if you really want to wear one, consider a more subtle approach.
Take a page out of Scarlett Johansson's book. She walked the red carpet with kind of like this teased, messy do and a gorgeous fitted gown, and she wore a stone tiara that definitely looked fashionable. Or even Natalie Portman, she wore this Grecian gown, and then she had kind of like a band tiara, but neither one of those stars wore something that looked like a beauty pageant.
Less is more when it comes to any piece of wedding jewelry, especially if it's on your head.
I don't know what it is with women, but we think sometimes that more is better.
While too much tiara is bad, too much tan is worse. Listen up, brides and grooms, because number 9 is a definite don't. Don't get crazy with fake tans, or even worse, lay out in the sun looking for some color. It's your wedding day, not spring break, and tanning is dangerous.
If you're gonna lay out in the sun the day before your wedding and you get a sunburn, that's your own fault. You're gonna look like a lobster in a white dress.
Oh, there is nothing worse than getting too tan on your wedding day. I've seen Oompa Loompas walk down the aisle, and I've been embarrassed for them.
There's no commandment saying, thou shalt spray tan. Pale brides can be gorgeous. Think of Grace Kelly, Audrey Hepburn, Nicole Kidman. Beautiful.
Chances are your natural skin color will work well with your gown, and a tanning disaster can't be fixed.
Remember, white or off-white only enhances your skin tone, even if you're very fair. So I kind of think it's this weird misconception that you have to go get a spray tan or lay in a tanning bed to really get this color because you're wearing white.
If you must get some color, there are safer options these days, such as spray tans and bronzers. But try them out first and never wait until the last minute.
Do it well in advance and check out what it's gonna look like, because most of those spray tans, you're gonna look like a carrot, and Bugs Bunny's the only one who's gonna marry you.
Number 8 is another beauty don't. This one's for the bridesmaids.
I think as a bride, the worst thing you could ever do is force your bridesmaids to pick the same hairstyle, because one might look great, the other one's gonna look terrible, and they're always gonna compare themselves.
Unless you're one of the Ronettes and your bridesmaids are your backups, you certainly want to have a unique expression of hair down that runway, which is really your runway to marriage.
Maybe one girl has long hair and she likes her hair down, another girl kind of wants hers back up. So I kind of think different styles of hair is totally appropriate.
I personally feel that making all your bridesmaids have helmet hair is a big don't. Work with your bridesmaids' individual style. A better version of it, clean them up, but don't make them be something that they're absolutely not.
We know the bride wants to be the most beautiful girl in the room. It is, after all, her big day, but that doesn't mean she should do something she might regret.
On occasion, I've had a bride say to me she wants to make sure her bridesmaids don't look as good as she does.
Sometimes you'll get the brides actually say, I want my bridesmaids to wear this eyeshadow, and they'll present me with like a really ugly emerald green eyeshadow.
I think it's a competition thing. I think the girl just does not want her bridesmaids to compete with her at all, so she makes them look as bad as she can half the time.
You want them to be tasteful and elegant, chic and sassy, but in no way do you want them to look better than you.
Number 7 is for the bride, and it's another don't. From your hair to your gown and accessories, don't look too trendy. You want to be timeless.
Have you ever seen those wedding pictures and you know exactly what year, maybe the month, a bride got married? Think about that when you're choosing a gown. This is a portrait that's going to stay around a long time.
Trendy dresses can be a big don't, because you're not going to love him down the line. Hopefully you'll still love him, but you won't love the dress, trust me.
All kinds of touches can date your wedding style. Think where you'll be in 20 years, not what's in fashion today.
The classic picture that really makes me laugh, Priscilla Presley, okay? There's that legendary picture of her and Elvis. She's got so much eye makeup on in that classic 1960s style, which looked great, at the time, great for going out to dinner, great for going out to a club. Not that great for a wedding, I have to say.
The brides of the 80s were really tragic. They were like the brides of Frankenstein. And they were horrifying. It's the sleeve. It's that sort of Dynasty Knots Landing, Alexis Carrington kind of big, poofy. Is it big enough?
Baby's breath, big hair, veils, princess sleeves. All of these things make most of us kind of laugh or giggle because they were trends, and they're all examples of something you might want to think twice about.
It's far more chic to choose a dress that's elegant.
Think about some of those legendary beauties that really made the bride kind of an icon of style. Something that's clean and simple with gorgeous fabric.
A beautiful wedding dress is a beautiful wedding dress, and it's timeless, and it usually has a lot of the same characteristics decades after decade after decade.
But here's the problem. A beautiful dress is easy to find, but a beautiful dress that works on you, that's not so easy to find. I know, girl. You have to know what kind of dress works on your body. So we sent 2 future brides out with Susie to give them a little help.
Not every woman can wear any type of wedding dress. You have to work with what your body type is, and that'll look amazing.
Amazing is exactly what Christina and Brooke need. 2 future brides looking for the dream dress and just 1 day to get it right at Kleinfeld's Bridal in New York.
I envision the perfect dress to really be something more of a princess cut that's poofy on the bottom, maybe a little bit tighter on top, something that's a little more fairy tale than just a straight dress.
For my wedding day, I've always just dreamed of being very classic and modern, but still very sexy. Not poofy enough?
Christina has Cinderella syndrome. This is a classic example of someone who's always fantasized about the big poofy dress. Well, in actuality, Christina's actually 5'3", so something like that is gonna shrink her.
While shrinking is not something a bride wants on her wedding day, Susie says it's not the problem that 5'10" Brooke has to worry about.
She has a big bust, and this can be an issue because if you show too much cleavage on your wedding day, that actually isn't sexy. It's just not modern, it's distasteful, and you don't want to do that.
To avoid making a dress mistake, the best advice is to take your time looking and enjoy it.
You should try on everything. I mean, go for the over the top because you are never gonna do this again. I mean, try on the biggest poofy wedding dress that you've ever seen in your entire life.
In the store, Christina went straight for the biggest dress she could find.
I think it's a little 80s. But let's try it on because I'm into the fantasy.
The realistic side of Susie went for something else.
This is gonna make you look long and amazing.
Yes, I love it.
When Christina walked out in that huge ball gown, I mean, the first thing I wanted to do was laugh a little bit because she's so small that it really just overwhelmed her.
I can hardly walk in it, but besides that, it's an absolutely gorgeous dress.
Next. So not flattering. What do you think?
I don't like it at all.
The mid-calf lace gown was absolutely a glamour don't on Christina. It shrunk her silhouette. Horrible.
3rd time's a charm, flattering for Christina's figure and a dream come true.
I just thought that was the dress. The fact that it was totally fitted and went all the way down to the floor made her look really long and lean, and the train was the drama that she was searching for.
I still feel like a princess in it, which is, I guess, my ultimate dream.
With Christina set, it was time for Brooke to look for her dream dress.
I really like this one.
I'm a little concerned that it's small up top, so I feel like you might spill out of it a little bit. So this could be sexy on your body. My only problem is there is the potential of overexposure.
Remember, the goal should be romantic and everlasting, not something shocking.
It's something that's timeless and classic. I'm in love.
Me too.
But what looks good on the rack doesn't always work in the dressing room.
When Brooke walked out in the lavender dress, the first thing I saw was her bust. She had that double bust, which is not good. I think you're gonna really regret a colored dress, even though the color looks good on you, not for your wedding. I know Brooke wanted to be sexy, so we tried the low plunging neckline, but if you're larger than a C cup, that's absolutely a glamour don't. You look magnificent.
I absolutely love it.
The fact that it hugged her bust, I love the unpure waistline. It lifted and supported, and it was just dramatic, sweet, classy, and sexy. Such a couture dress.
I absolutely love it.
For these 2 brides, the search is over. And according to Susie, it's not about whether the ideal dress exists, it's about finding it.
It doesn't matter if you're a size 2 or a size 22. There is a perfect wedding dress that's out there for every bride.
In terms of the fashion-forward styling I was looking for, this dress really has that.
I am so happy in this dress. I love it, absolutely love it.
Don't go away, there's plenty more to come. Coming up, guys, girls, and guests, our experts have the new rules in wedding dress codes.
I don't know why people do that. You're not there to upstage the bride, so don't do it.
Then, forget about comfort, the dress, and the shocking train length on one celebrity wedding gown.
She was actually channeling Princess Diana.
When Glamour's 20 wedding do's and don'ts continues. All right, it's getting down to the really good stuff. There's do's, there's don'ts, and then there's, oh, no, she didn't. Wait till you see the girl who wore sneakers to her own wedding. Before you judge, we've all made a few fashion missteps, haven't we? But first, if you're on the guest list, listen up. This one's for you.
I don't like fashion rules, but the one rule, do not wear white to a wedding. It's the one tradition we should respect and keep.
Sometimes you see somebody arriving at a wedding all dressed in white, and it's not right, because the bride should be the only one in white, and she's a star.
I don't know why people do that. You're not there to upstage the bride, so don't do it.
As a guest, keep in mind that the bride probably spent a lot of money buying her white or ivory dress. Let her be the only one there wearing it that day. Wear a color, wear beige if you want to be neutral, but leave white and ivory to the bride.
But what about black? Traditionally, guests weren't supposed to show up wearing anything so morbid.
Nowadays, everything is accepted, from trousers to black, red, whatever you like.
Black is considered quite acceptable today, so a black dress is fine. I think, you know, you obviously want to look nice, you're going to an event, but you just want to be understated to a certain degree.
Number 5 is a definite do for the groom. Please, schedule your haircut 1 to 2 weeks before the big day.
If you are a groom, do not get your hair cut the day before the wedding. That is the worst thing you could ever do. At least 1 to 2 weeks earlier. Let it grow out a little bit. You'll look great. You just definitely don't want to experiment that day.
And they think that's something of a gift to give to their wife, to be, look what I did. But then you have no wiggle room. You can't change it if it's too short. You don't want to show up and have to shave your head.
Some men are not the best at recognizing when they're having a bad hair day or a year, so they may need some guidance.
Talk to your groom like 6 weeks before the wedding, because he will wait, as guys do, until the day before the wedding to get his hair cut because he wants to be fresh. Bad idea.
In the case of my husband, he was like, I don't want all my wedding pictures to have like a giant 70s afro. And 10 minutes before he walked down the aisle, he shaved it all off. And I heard everyone applauding.
But most men are better off playing it safe.
A guy doesn't actually want to change his look that dramatically. He wants to show up at his wedding looking like he does, but just cleaner. You don't want to look like a dirty frat boy. You want to look like a hot, preppy kid.
Number 4 is a beauty don't for anyone getting married.
Do not get a facial the day before your wedding. I had one, and guess what? My mother called me Cyclops because I got a pimple right in the middle of my forehead.
You always need a couple days to sort of let your body get back to normal after a facial or after waxing or brow tweezing or anything like that.
You'll end up blotchy and red, and no amount of makeup's going to be able to completely cover that up.
When you get married, it is an out-of-body experience. The last thing you want to do is look like an alien, too.
Number 3 on the list, do consider comfort when you're shopping for your wedding gown.
Never underestimate how important it is to feel comfortable on your wedding day.
But don't let comfort dictate your every decision, because it may take some pain to look pretty.
You've got one day, and it's mostly the afternoon and evening. You want to look back and say, wow, I look great. Trust me, you won't remember the pain of boning cutting into your ribs. That'll go away, scars heal.
One big star whose dress sacrificed comfort was Mariah Carey. Her train was 27 feet long.
She was actually channeling Princess Diana. However, you really have to be in the proper venue for a dress of that theatricality and that importance. I mean, it was at St. Patrick's Cathedral, and there is a length of aisle there that makes it valid in terms of, you know, drama and pomp and circumstance. However, that's not a proportion I would advise for most people.
The fact is, a bride should not have to worry where her dress is when she's celebrating.
You want to be able to dance the night away with your friends, not be dragging a train and have 7 people behind you trying to push your dress down.
So if you decide to forego comfort for glamour, just know that life will be twice as tough if the dress doesn't fit properly.
You don't want something you're constantly like pulling up or fussing around in like that. It shouldn't be too fussy, but you know, it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable.
Most brides forgive an uncomfortable gown, but very few will forgive themselves for wearing brutal heels.
The only time you should think about comfort when it comes to your wedding is with the shoes, because your shoes could ruin your evening.
But don't get carried away with comfort. After all, sneakers with a wedding gown, never a good look. Stay with us, you won't believe what's coming up. Coming up, what not to do at your wedding.
She backs up, turns around, and there's these candles on the bar, and whoom, she goes up in flames.
And the #1 choice you have to make on your wedding day.
People always ask me, how do they know?
When Glamour's 20 wedding do's and don'ts continues. This is it. We've counted down 18 of our 20 do's and don'ts. There's just 2 left, and these are the big ones. On the day that you say I do, please, don't do this. Number 2 is for the bride, and it's an absolute don't. Ladies, don't drink too much. A tipsy bride is never in fashion.
There's nothing worse than a bride who looks so beautiful and then she's slurring and spilling and falling. Forget it.
Nothing very chic about a drunk bride.
Leave the tequila shots to the wedding party.
Yes, it's a stressful week, but when the wedding starts, all eyes are on you.
We've gone to weddings with other people's brides where, the girl's on Xanax for 3 days before the wedding and it's a problem.
Now, it is a party, so it's okay to have a drink if you want to, but taking the edge off doesn't have to mean going over the edge.
It's fine to celebrate, but you want to remember every single moment and just tell yourself it's 2 glasses or whatever your limit is, and drink water and make sure your bridesmaids or your friends are getting you water instead of tons of champagne.
Even if it's just a protein bar, put something in your stomach, because as you sip champagne, remember, it's really easy to become tipsy and kick off those shoes. It's just tacky, and everyone's gonna make fun of you.
You want your wedding to be a joy, not a joke.
Me and my friend go to this wedding, and then he introduces me to the bride, and there she is at the bar, like screaming at the barman, pour me a drink! I want a drink, this is my wedding! She backs up, turns around, and there's all these candles on the bar, and she rests her head back, and whoom, she goes up in flames. And I get this water, and I'm throwing the water out, and we had to get her on the floor and actually try and pat her hair out. She's still screaming at the barman.
This is it. We are finally down to #1 on our list. So far, we've covered the bride, the groom, the bridal party, and the guests. We're topping the list with the most important piece of advice for the bride. Just be yourself. You don't want to look like an entirely different person on the day of your wedding.
Somehow manage to look like yourself. After all the hair and makeup people are finished with you, hopefully you still look like yourself. And I think that, if you don't normally wear blue eyeshadow, or you don't normally wear your hair in an upswept do, so to speak.
You want to be the most beautiful you that you can possibly be.
You just want to look like the most beautiful version of yourself.
Somebody loves you the way you are, and it's your day to celebrate.
Instead of trying to look like a bride, just focus on looking your best.
Don't think that you have to compete with other brides or please anyone else on your wedding day. Just express your vision and trust your instinct.
If you're a size 14, you don't need to starve yourself to a size 2 just because you're getting married that day.
You want to look kind of like this dream, but you want to look like the more glamorous version of yourself. You don't want to look back and say, what was I thinking and who is that?
So it's important to maintain your sense of identity and who you are.
Make every decision based on your own personal style.
Everyone should be themselves, and if that means you're a little quirky and different, go for it.
Wear what you love, marry who you love, look like what you love looking like.
I always say that my brides, this is their Oscar night. So, you know, when they put the right gown on, whether it's white or pink or gray, if it feels right to them, I think that's how you should dress on your wedding.
People always ask me, how do they know out of all the dresses you have in your store? And it's incredible, but she's standing there in front of the mirror and I'm right by her side and we can try 10 things that look equally beautiful. But in the end, somehow, a woman just knows.
When a bride walks out feeling like $1 million, no matter what she's wearing, there's nothing more beautiful.
So many brides and grooms think about their wedding day as like, this is it, this is the end, you know, we made it kind of thing, but that's just the beginning.
Well, that's it. The top 20 wedding do's and don'ts. You heard them, now you know, and so do I. Planning a wedding is tough, believe me, I know. To all you other future brides, please, ladies, go easy on your bridesmaids. I'm Layla Ali, thanks for watching.